Yes, it really happened. Trump absolutely destroyed Elon Musk. This bromance is shattered. Buckle up, this is going to be ridiculous.
Elon Musk has now lost a staggering $122 billion because Musk's wealth is tied up in Tesla, which has been hammered for a bunch of reasons, along with the other companies that are crashing, and its net income plunged more than half, plunged 70%.
Donald Trump just slipped a gold-plated shiv between Elon Musk's shoulder blades, and it's not looking pretty. Elon's fortune is evaporating faster than Trump's legal team at a guilty verdict, losing billions faster than a Tesla loses range in a Minnesota winter. At this point, Musk isn't just losing money, he's speed-running the broke billionaire challenge like it's a personal side quest. Meanwhile, Trump's approval numbers are sinking faster than a Cybertruck in a rainstorm, and the best part, this friendship breakup is shaping up to be messier than a Trump steak giveaway at a vegan food festival.
No, Elon. And he lost. And this also touches on the economic realm where these other Trump power players have the president's ear because the president's worried about losing billions or trillions more in the markets. And for Trump, that's certainly a political problem, makes him look bad. It's also supposed to be a governing problem if he cares about people's well-being in the country. But for Elon Musk, it's actually something much more deeply personal. Because it's not just costing Elon Musk millions that the Trump trade war and other problems are dragging down the economy. It's not just costing Elon Musk $1 billion or even billions plural.
Now, before we move on, smash that like button because trust me, the train wreck you're about to see deserves front row seats. Let's talk about Trump's famous golden touch. If by golden touch you mean everything he touches turns into a flaming dumpster fire, who could forget the endless parade of promises? Trump swore he'd make America great again, as if he was just a red hat fairy godmother. Spoiler, no miracles happened. Instead, we got the man's lesser known superpower, completely destroying anything and everything in his orbit. Businesses, friendships, economies. And the latest VIP guest at Trump's smash and burn party, none other than Elon Musk.
Signals and stories show that Elon Musk's loud, quick start is really melting into a also quick retreat. Both men, Trump and Musk, say that Elon Musk's duties will continue to shrink. And this comes after Trump already narrowed Musk's role after that cabinet clash meeting. You might recall that was one of the many big stories the first 100 days.
If you blinked, you might have missed it. The bromance between Trump and Musk? Yeah, it's crashing harder than a Tesla autopilot demo. There was a time when Musk was practically Trump's personal cheerleader, pom-poms and all, backing every chaotic decision without a second thought. Now, that relationship is melting faster than Trump's approval ratings at a fact-checkers convention, and guess who's swinging the axe the hardest? You already know, Captain Chaos himself, Donald Trump.
Trump's richest backers are losing even more. The tech titans from the inauguration, who had criticized Trump before, remember, who had given public warnings about exactly the type of governing failures we've been seeing now, they're down tens of billion with a B. The one who lost the most has actually been the most involved. Musk on the right losing over $100 billion in the past few months alone. It's hard to even get your head around the number.
It's almost poetic. Trump's rich tech buddies, the ones who warned about his disasters, are now losing tens of billions. Elon, leading the pack with over $100 billion vaporized, faster than you can say stable genius. It's like watching a slow-motion car crash. Only the car costs more than the GDP of some countries. Now, onto Trump's brilliant tariff plan. And by brilliant, I mean catastrophically terrible. These tariffs were supposed to save American jobs. Instead, they're smashing the economy harder than Trump smashes a Diet Coke button. The global supply chain shattered. Prices skyrocketing. And guess whose business depends on a working global supply chain? Yup, Elon Musk, folks.
Last week was a week of collapsing markets, evaporating 401ks, and likely price hikes for the American people since Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs went into effect. The fallout may be too much for even the richest man on the planet. Here's what Donald Trump, confidant and multi-billionaire Elon Musk said about tariffs at an event yesterday.
I hope it is agreed that both Europe and the United States should move, ideally, in my view, to a zero tariff situation. That has certainly been my advice to the president.
Well, as recently as yesterday, Trump posted on social media that the tariffs are, quote,
even after Musk basically begged Trump for some basic common sense, Trump fired back with his usual response: nope, tariffs forever. Because why listen to your richest allies when you can wreck the economy with the enthusiasm of a toddler playing with fireworks? But let's talk real numbers for a second, because nothing says success like lighting $1 billion a day on fire. Yep, that's the tab Elon Musk's been picking up ever since Trump decided that tariffs were his new favorite toy. Imagine handing a toddler the keys to a Ferrari, giving him a hammer, and then being surprised when he smashes every window while yelling, "I'm fixing it." That's basically Trump's economic strategy in action. Every time Musk tries to get ahead, boom, another tariff slap from Trump like the world's worst game show host. Congratulations, Elon, you just hit the tariff jackpot. Hand over your wallet. It's no wonder Musk has been trying to backpedal. The whole tech genius image is crumbling faster than a cheap Tesla bumper. And those cracks in his empire? Yeah, they're not hairline fractures anymore. They're full-on sinkholes. But sure, who needs a working global economy when you can gnaw your way through a mountain of tariffs, right?
And now from Washington to corporate America, ever since President Trump's April 2nd announcement on tariffs, global markets have been reeling from heavy losses, wiping out trillions of dollars in equity value. In fact, several American billionaires have seen their wealth plunge. The world's 500 richest people reportedly lost more than $500 billion in just 2 trading days following President Trump's tariff announcement. Within that list, a group of tycoons who have supported the president or attended his inauguration in January have also seen their wealth shrink. President Trump's close ally, Elon Musk, reportedly lost nearly $31 billion in 2 days of trading on April 3rd and 4th.
Oh, but wait, it gets worse. Trump's greatest economy ever. It melted down so hard after his tariff announcement that the world's 500 richest people lost more than $500 billion in just 2 trading days. $500 billion. You can practically hear Wall Street crying into their artisanal lattes. Elon Musk, he took a $31 billion hit faster than Trump can invent a new fake crowd size. Now let's take a quick pit stop at Trump's approval ratings. Because yes, they've somehow gotten even uglier. Poll after poll, Pew, The Economist, Reuters, all show the same brutal truth. Trump's approval rating isn't just low, it's Titanic level underwater, and not the romantic ship scene part. We're talking full-on bottom of the ocean tragedy. At this point, Trump's public support is like a bad Monopoly game. He's mortgaged all the properties, owes the bank his shoes, and is somehow still bragging that he's winning. It's a strategy that works great if no one bothers to check the scoreboard. But guess what? America's finally flipping over the board, and they're not buying what he's selling anymore.
What are your thoughts on tariffs? I know that's very controversial to even people, economists. They disagree, some agree, some think it's a good idea, some think it's a terrible idea. What do you think?
I think you need to be careful with tariffs. So you want to have tariffs be predictable so that companies can adjust their supply chain. I mean, I think companies are more than happy to increase manufacturing in America. It's just that you can't do it instantly. I'm against like sudden giant tariffs. It's an impossible response if you've got to, move 1,000 tons of equipment, collectively millions of tons of equipment. You just can't do that overnight. It's literally impossible.
Now, circling back to Elon Musk, because wow, the drama just keeps getting better. Remember the good old days when Musk was practically Trump's personal hype machine? Back when he was firing off MAGA endorsements like confetti at a ticker tape parade? It almost feels quaint now. Musk used to praise Trump's every move like a kid in a candy store. Maybe he didn't literally toss MAGA hats from Tesla rooftops, but you get the picture. It looked like Musk's loyalty to Trump was as solid as his faith in self-driving cars. But then the vibe shifted. Maybe it was those painfully awkward late night phone calls with the ex-president. Maybe it was the cold realization that hitching your star to a sinking ship isn't the best business strategy. Whatever it was, Musk started backing away. Slow, careful, like a guy realizing his Tinder date is actually wanted by the FBI. Classic Elon, hedging his bets when the party turned into a full-blown disaster.
I do think it's interesting that, that Donald Trump again has implemented this tariff regime, which has screwed Tesla. I mean, Tesla actually wrote a letter to the Trump White House. We did a video about it. I think it was a month, perhaps 2 months ago, where they said, don't do this because it's going to cause significant damage to Tesla. They were calling the Trump administration out. Musk on this call, in his own roundabout way, is calling Trump out as well. He thinks tariffs are a disastrous idea. And he's right on those, by the way. The Trump tariffs are a disastrous idea. But it's also clear, based on his relatively humble tone, the audible defeat.
And now, we're watching Musk try to pull off the impossible, pretending to be a responsible adult while his Twitter feed still screams chaotic genius in progress every 5 minutes. Meanwhile, Trump's approval ratings are nosediving faster than his Truth Social stock. It's a race to the bottom. And honestly, we're just here with popcorn. The public, they're loving it, sitting back, watching this meltdown like the surprise Netflix soap opera nobody signed up for, but somehow can't stop binge watching. At this point, all we're missing is some dramatic slow motion footage. Elon holding an awkward press conference while Trump yells about tariffs in the background, and maybe a cheesy soap opera soundtrack playing in the background. Next up, will Trump brag about his biggest win yet that somehow involves losing another lawsuit? Will Elon invent a new word on Twitter and convince half of America it's real? Stay tuned, because this clown show isn't over, not by a long shot.
The Washington Post is reporting that Elon Musk, one of President Trump's top lieutenants, who this weekend launched a barrage on social media with posts criticizing President Trump's aggressive tariff plan, also made personal appeals to President Trump to rethink those tariffs. He made those appeals directly. The Post cites 2 people familiar with the matter on that. Of course, Musk's efforts so far, Savannah, have...
For a while there, Musk was all in, cheerleading Trump's trade wars like his career depended on it. He was right there, hyping up Trump's wild economic moves, backing the tariffs, the chaos, the whole disaster parade. It was like watching a cheerleader still shouting, "We're winning," even though the scoreboard said 50-0. Oh no, nothing to worry about, guys. Trump's economic tantrums are great for innovation, right? Right. Well, fast forward, and it turns out that whole no big deal attitude aged about as well as milk in the sun. Now, with Trump's tariffs gutting the economy like a badly aimed chainsaw, Musk is trying to quietly slip out the back door, acting like he didn't spend years riding the Trump train straight into a burning dumpster. You'd think a guy who builds rockets could have seen the crash coming. Apparently not, because Trump's brilliant economic strategy of slap tariffs on everything that moves didn't just backfire. It took out one of the most innovative companies on the planet. And now Musk, he's scrambling, pivoting, gaslighting, pretending he never saw that iceberg, even though he helped steer the ship straight into it.
Remind us just how much he's donated, how much he's worth, and how much he's lost since Liberation Day.
So Elon Musk, we calculated he gave around $360 million to Trump's re-election effort, which sounds like a ton of money. It is a ton of money. It's also a drop in the bucket for Elon Musk, who today is worth about $360 billion. And that is as of right now, Forbes's estimates. That includes, the stock prices that are fluctuating minute to minute. At the time we ran our article, he had lost about $8.7 billion of his net worth. That was largely due to Tesla stock sliding. That is up to over 26.
Let's talk money, because the numbers here are bananas. Elon threw a cool $360 million into Trump's re-election like it was spare change. Sure, when you're worth $360 billion, that's just pocket lint. But after Trump's economic magic, Musk has lost over $26 billion and counting. It's like watching someone try to cover up a terrible tattoo. No, I never supported Trump. I was just being ironic. Nice try, Elon. We all saw it. The public endorsements, the private meetings, the full-on MAGA rally energy. Now Musk standing there holding a giant tariff-soaked bag while his empire slowly sinks. And let's be honest, it's hard to crack jokes on Twitter when you're bleeding billions a day. At this point, Musk's net worth is dropping faster than Trump's approval rating at a climate summit. Maybe next time, Elon, choose your business partners a little more carefully.
Donald Trump was the man, is now begging for zero tariffs, open borders, and freedom of movement. I'm talking about Elon Musk. Elon Musk now says that he hopes the United States...
And speaking of blaming everyone else, nobody plays that game better than Donald Trump. Accountability? Never heard of her. While the economy tanks and his so-called genius plans unravel, Trump's busy giving speeches about how everything's going perfectly. Meanwhile, the rest of us are standing here with brooms and buckets cleaning up the wreckage. Elon Musk, he's just the latest genius who thought riding Trump's coattails would be a power move. Newsflash, those coattails are more like emergency exit slides straight into disaster. But hey, Elon, don't feel too bad. At least you've still got SpaceX to daydream about while your earthly businesses collapse under Trump's golden tan wrecking ball. Speaking of SpaceX, let's dive in. Remember when Musk was selling the dream of colonizing Mars back in 2008? Fast forward to now, and it's starting to feel less like a brilliant vision and more like a bad Netflix sci-fi movie, starring Elon as the eccentric billionaire who talks a big game but never quite gets the spaceship off the ground.
Just days after Donald Trump doubled down on this catastrophic round of tariffs, which is tanking markets, it's putting global trade on red alert. So what you are seeing now is Musk, the guy MAGA thought was their billionaire champion, completely rejecting the economic nationalism of Donald Trump.
And now, here we are. Elon Musk, once the golden boy of MAGA tech bros, publicly bailing out on Trump's economic nationalism like he just realized the lifeboats are gone. His Mars plans still light years away, pun very much intended. Meanwhile, here on Earth, Trump's tariff tantrums are sinking Musk's empire faster than a Tesla with a faulty battery. Honestly, Musk isn't aiming for the stars right now. He's just trying to stay above water. And Trump's policies, they're like an anchor tied around his ankle. But let's bring this home, because really none of this should be surprising. This is classic Trump playbook. Promise everything, wreck everything, blame everyone else. The man could start a bonfire in the middle of a drought, hand out marshmallows, and then blame the firefighters when the town burns down. Musk might have once been a loud, proud member of Trump's fan club, but now he's just another casualty left in the ashes of Trump's never-ending economic disaster tour. And honestly, he should have seen it coming from a mile away.
There are two arguments which don't necessarily correspond for Donald Trump when it comes to trade policy. Argument one is what I would call the Elon argument, and that is, let's eliminate all tariffs all over the world. And Trump has said that he is in favor of this. And so it would mean, instead of there being a tariff, for instance, to protect Canadian dairy, milk in Canada, that would go away and everybody would compete evenly. You could buy American milk in Canada, right? It would mean that there are no trade costs. So it would be like the whole world
backing a guy who treats tariffs like some magic wand for fixing every problem. Yeah, that was Elon's first mistake. Instead of getting the booming Tesla-powered economy he dreamed of, Musk got handed a flaming dumpster, along with a cheerful "good luck with that" from Trump. Musk envisioned Tesla leading a clean energy revolution. Instead, he got an economic house fire so massive it should have had its own verified Twitter account, complete with manifesto. This wasn't a business plan. It was a reality show, and the grand prize, watching everything around you crash and burn in 4K. Musk, bless him, thought he could surf the chaos, riding a pool of taxpayer-funded subsidies straight to the top. Spoiler alert, the pool was empty, and now he's stuck floundering in the wreckage. Casualties of tariffs that made about as much sense as Trump's "I won the election" speeches.
Very clear why Mr. Trump wants us to talk about tariffs. He's hoping that a good number of us are not aware that a tariff is a tax, because then he'd have to explain how is it that your Republican Party is hitting not just all Americans, but the whole world. This is going to make Mr. Trump as unpopular as you can imagine. All right, now who pays the tax? Another area of confusion. Americans pay the tax. When Mr. Trump says, "I'm putting a tariff on China," that's very nice. That makes it sound like Mr. Trump, who's the leader of the United States, can put a tax on Chinese people or businesses. He cannot. The only government that can tax China is the Chinese government. So the tariff is a tax paid by Americans when they bring foreign goods or services into the United States that were produced somewhere else.
And here's the kicker. Tariffs aren't a tax on China, they're a tax on Americans. Every time Trump bragged about punishing China, he was actually punishing you, your wallet, your retirement plan, and your next trip to Target. But explaining that would have ruined the whole "I'm a genius negotiator" routine, so naturally, Trump left that tiny detail out. So what's next for Elon Musk? Will he somehow blast his way out of this mess? Literally? By strapping himself to a SpaceX rocket and waving waving goodbye to Trump's economic carnage from orbit? Or will he be left trying to stitch together the scraps of his empire, piece by tariff-scorched piece? Maybe Mars really is the best bet, Elon, because here on Earth, Trump's tariffs have done more damage to innovation than 1,000 bureaucrats ever could. And if you think this story was wild, wait until you see what Trump's cooked up next. Click and see the madness for yourself.